Tuning into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans! Welcome to another edition of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. AfterBuzz After Show. Tonight we are talking about Season 3, Episode 2, Purpose in the Machine. How are we all doing tonight? Sound effects? Lots of feelings
Mac.
there at the end.
Just Mac.
Oh, yeah, I love how he's like the resident nickname maker.
Yeah.
Good job.
Tremors
did
and
good, Tremors.
Tremors.
You did good.
We should figure out at some point what Mac would call each of us.
I like
Like,
that.
it wouldn't necessarily be positive. Let's keep that in mind.
Challenge issue to everybody who
Come on,
is
Twitter.
watching on the live chat or following us along on Twitter, hashtag ABTVShield. Let me introduce my fantastic panel before we get going tonight. Jesse Klein.
Hi everyone, I'm Jesse Klein. You can find me on Twitter at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
Zach Wilson.
You guys can find me on Twitter at @ThatZachWilson. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to talk about this episode.
Yeah, a lot of good things. Joyce Ajouri.
Hey guys, you can catch me on Twitter at Ajouri.
And I'm Megan, guys, and you can follow me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. Okay, guys, how are we feeling? Because that was intense.
So much
Very
feelings.
It was really intense.
It was fast.
Yeah.
I was like, I had to stand through it. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that when we
saw
were
that.
watching. Like, I just stood up at one point. I was like,
is
I
he
can't
tired
sit
of
still
sitting?
anymore.
I didn't notice. You want to know why? Because I stopped taking notes and my face was cupped in my hands as
yeah.
I'm staring at the television.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit as well. I still took notes, and I stayed seated because I'm a professional. But I did. Yeah, I agree with you guys. It was intense.
I mean, it was partially to get a better view of the TV, but like,
That's true. My head was probably like blocking half of the screen because I'm just staring at it so close.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this episode. Let's talk about this opening scene, because whenever we open with a flashback, it's usually to something pretty important. We have a group of Englishmen in, I don't even know how to pronounce this place's name.
Gloucestershire.
Or
Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
Gloucestershire, England.
Gloucester.
Gloucester.
I think it would.
I was gonna call it Gleckenshire, but I know that's not right.
This is the podcast to butcher names.
Listen,
We're Americans, guys. Geography is not our strong
we're just
suit.
happy it's not a
Gloucestershire.
Welsh place.
It's actually appropriate. This is
Like
a
that one of the
hashtag.
news broadcasts.
Yeah.
This is a hashtag from the Doctor Who podcast, but hashtag none of us are British.
Yeah.
It applies here too.
There you go. That makes perfect sense. But it's 1839, and we have a group of what I assume is a clandestine organization of some
Yeah.
sort, essentially drawing lots for who is going to explore the monolith.
Yeah, it was a very interesting. It reminded me of Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. I don't know if anyone's ever read that short story, but it's about like a village that has to like draw rocks out of a bag to see who gets sacrificed, basically. So it was very similar.
It was very
Yeah.
reminiscent of that.
I was kind of
Yeah.
confused because we later find out. Well, I guess we don't really find out for sure, but we are assuming that it gets active when an Inhuman is present or when any alien is present. But are we to assume that the people in 1839 were all Inhuman or alien of some
Well,
sort?
I mean, they could be, but we then found out that that's not what was activating the monolith, or at least that's not the only thing that activates the monolith. That the vibration in the room is what was opening that monolith, at least what they were using in England. Like, that's what that machine was for.
Yeah, there was vibrations could force activate it, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you could force it to turn on, or it activated in the. I think it's safe to say in the presence of an Inhuman.
because
or
Gemma wasn't
alien.
doing anything when it swallowed her up.
Yeah, which would
Yes.
imply, if we follow that logic, that Gemma is carrying inhuman DNA.
Yes.
It's very possible that those guys weren't inhuman, but were inhuman gene carriers.
Yes.
But so like we see with the other times we've seen it activate are just in the presence of soldiers, where so like one of them could have been inhuman.
Yeah.
When Daisy walks into the room.
Right now,
Yeah.
but again, like that so far there's no evidence to that. That's just a theory right now.
Yeah, there's nothing to confirm that at the moment, and it did activate when Dr. Randolph was near it, so it could just be any alien material.
Because also Fitz says that it's random, which means to assume that he's seen it go into liquid form as he's been studying it as well, when there might have been no inhuman or any alien nearby.
And Fitz is smart enough to put together a pattern of people entering the room.
Yeah, that might
So
be
maybe that theory's gone.
That's assuming you know what to look for, though.
Yeah.
So it could be seemingly random when the S.H.I.E.L.D. intern walks in and all of a sudden it activates and then
I mean, when they said that he was only basing it off of Earth's like moons and rotation and stuff like that, so it seemed random, but it could have been something that was from wherever the other side of that portal is.
It just it feels like there has to be more than just like it's on like a clock, because for it to. If that's true, for it to liquefy and grab Simmons at that exact moment seems far too coincidental.
Sure.
That she just happened to be fixing it at the very moment that the Kree, assuming the Kree moon happened to circle and cause the tides to flow in a certain direction.
Sure, yeah.
So there's some sort of thing that activates it. I think it's safe to say.
I like the way Dr. Randolph put it, is that there's something in particular that triggers it. We don't know what that is. It could be an alien presence. It could be something that we're not privy to, that we can't see. Who knows? It could be anything at this point still.
It could literally be a Kree with a button, like, chilling there. He's, like, watching through, like, the portal, like, well, she opened the door. Click.
Let's mess with this person today.
Wouldn't it be great if they're on the Kree homeworld, there's a guy in a bunker who's just typing numbers into a computer and
Wrong
he just
show.
does
Wrong
it.
show. No, wrong show.
No,
different show.
okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not
Why
gonna
are there
happen.
4 toes? I think we're probably done with the monolith for a while.
Well,
I think
it exploded.
Yeah. Well, it exploded, but it's something that we've seen go into a liquid state and then reform.
I wonder if it can just do that at any time. Whatever triggers its movement could probably trigger it back to its original form.
That's true.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, if you collect the dust and have Daisy shoot.
Well, luckily it's
tremors
all
at
in
it.
that well.
Yeah.
Looking thing.
That's sweet.
Well, and a bunch of it blasted
That's
onto
true,
all of
that's
them.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
I'm surprised Mac wasn't freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's getting compromised.
Alien dust.
Alien portal, get it off!
We gotta get to the decontamination chamber.
But,
Get it off me.
More
These
sound
o-
effects from Mac.
These old British guys were just sending people into the portal.
Yeah.
I had 2 immediate thoughts.
Yeah.
That are both comic related.
As were mine.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious what you thought. Like, my first thought was that this is just like old timey S.H.I.E.L.D. Because in the comics, S.H.I.E.L.D. as an organization dates back to like Da Vinci.
Yeah.
In some form. So this could have been a previous S.H.I.E.L.D., even though like modern S.H.I.E.L.D. was founded more or less by Hydra, as we know.
Yeah.
This could have been like something like that. It's explainable, I think.
Yeah, like the foundation.
Like I said, some clandestine organization, like I like thinking of like the old timey version of S.H.I.E.L.D., like just a group of people who are trying to protect the world from weird supernatural things.
Well, Sir Nicholas Fury and his ward, Peter Parker, are 2 mainstays in old Marvel. Like that's a part of it. Also,
Peter Parquois?
Or Peter Parker. It's like Peter spelled weird. And then like Matt Murdock is like, there's old Daredevil as well. Like there's
Are we talking 1407 or
Yeah,
whatever.
Marvel
Is this an
1407,
AU where they're all like Knights of the Round Table?
Basically, yeah.
That's
kind
awesome.
of,
Sir
yeah.
Anthony Stark.
I
Yeah,
would watch
Sir
that.
Anthony Stark and his Metal Man and like all that stuff. Yeah, for sure.
You know what it does kind of remind me of, actually, surprisingly, especially when we actually get to the chamber, is it felt very League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because it was that kind of, I think the 1800s were like Victorian era. And when we actually get to the lab, it looked just like Dr. Frankenstein's lab in my mind, with all the gears and the bricks and everything like that.
I can see that.
It could work.
Yes, Dr.
Fitz
Frankenstein.
Fitz got a little crazy there.
It's alive!
It's alive!
The other thing, I'm sure. Well, Jesse, I'm sure you had the similar thought because we talked about it last week. Zodiac.
Oh yeah, I definitely thought about Zodiac.
There
for
was
sure.
that little symbol on the door,
Yeah.
which looked a lot like it could have been Taurus.
It looked a lot like a Taurus symbol. Yeah. For those of you who did we clear up what Zodiac is?
a
last
little
week?
bit.
Okay.
We talked a
let's-
bit
so
about
let's
it.
touch
But-
on it.
I drew that symbol so haphazardly. I was like, what is this?
But why don't we?
Go ahead and explain, yeah.
Yeah.
So Zodiac is an organization that's been around in the Marvel universe for a long time, and for a lot of that time, it was kind of just thought of as like a not very threatening group, and like they've got some powers, and like they're like, oh, all of our stuff is part of the Zodiac, and like our powers are part of it. But then it turns out that they're more clandestine than like Hydra. Like they're the guys who are behind Hydra. Like it's a group of people. Like Nicholas Fury's family is part of Zodiac. Also, the Strucker family is part of Zodiac. I mean, we get
So it's like a super Hydra?
It's a weird panel of people who are all vying. They were chosen because they're all vying to control the world.
Yes.
So like Nick Fury is trying to control the world.
Yeah.
Strucker is trying to control the world. And then they have guys from Leviathan,
Who
like
are
the
trying to control
Russian
the world,
version
yeah.
of Hydra,
Nick
trying
Fury's
to control the
brother
world.
is trying to control the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have I think there was somebody from the ninja army that we saw.
the Hand?
The Hand. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah. There's probably
I'm doing this because I'm trying to get to remember the word hand. But like all of these different people, and they're all on this panel. And they're
Is
each
Doctor Doom there?
No.
I don't think
man.
Doctor Doom would belong to any organization. To be
Yeah,
honest.
but they're each given a symbol of the Zodiac,
Yeah.
and then like given tasks. Like they work together in this weird way.
And so they're the secret organization that is behind all the secret organizations. They're the spies that the spies don't know
So
about.
they're the shadowy puppet
The board of
group
shadowy figures.
that control all the other shadowy puppet groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And that
insane
also
to think about.
reminded me, because I told you earlier, I'm also reading Secret Warriors, and that's the, I guess the key or the code that Nick Fury and Von Strucker used to access
Yeah.
really high security files. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the rest of that book for you, but that's it's very
Don't say anything
much
else.
related.
For sure, yes. That-
I just got
definitely.
reminded.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to tie it back,
If anyone's still with us,
Yeah.
do we think this old-timey English group is maybe like a
could be,
primordial
yeah.
version of Zodiac then?
That makes sense.
not even a primordial. I think if it is, it just would be Zodiac.
Zodiac.
Okay.
There's
guy's name
all
is-
sorts of implications that they've been around through the centuries.
The guy's name is Manzini, by the way. The guy they send into that thing.
Yeah,
Which
which,
I
we
thought-
only knew because of closed captioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Manzini, yeah, he ain't coming back. He is.
Manzini.
Yeah.
That sounds like a weird beach attire.
That guy's wearing a Manzini, and he went right through that
Like
portal.
Bermuda shorts.
Yeah.
Like some
Check
sort of
out that Manzini
menswear.
cap.
Manzini.
Yeah.
But point being, he's dead now.
Yeah.
He's like super dead,
Well,
probably.
he got transported to wherever.
Yes.
The question, I guess, that's raised by that, so people have been sent there. Simmons was sent
And
there.
no
She
one has ever come
survived
back except for her.
potentially several months. We're fairly certain, just based on film rights,
Yeah.
that it's not the negative zone. But I thought about it in this case just because there's a time
Difference,
flows
yeah.
differently in the
Yeah.
negative zone. And it won't be, but that doesn't mean similar principles can't apply. So, like, the question remains, how long was Simmons gone?
Yeah. And again, we don't know if, like, we're dealing with relativity here and whether or not she's actually been gone for the same amount of time. Yeah, exactly. So, who knows? Everybody who's ever been sent in could still theoretically be alive in some weird space. But
they're asking if we're back to talking about the show yet.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, guys. We do need to move along, sadly. But yeah, there are still a lot of possibilities and a lot of unanswered questions, especially given that we still don't know exactly what happened to Simmons while she was there. So let's move on a little bit. I want to talk about something way more grounded. I want to talk about May and her dear old dad, because this was, again, it was very slice of life. It was very humorous. It was just a very kind of lovely, down-to-earth conversation between two people.
Well, I think that kind of was part of a theme that was in this episode, and I kind of wrote it down about the toll that everyone on S.H.I.E.L.D. has taken, whether it be emotional or about the fact that, like, Coulson is now does not only have, like, his blood is not his own blood. Some of his organs are not his own organs, and now he's missing an arm as well. Like, Coulson started this off being like the human part of the, like, Avengers movies. Like, he was the one that reminded you about, like, what it meant to be, like, defending humanity, and now he is, at least physically, he's become less and less human. And I think seeing May interact with her dad was also, like, showing kind of the toll that it's taken on her. She has been hit hard. She is down. She isn't sure, like, where to go from there. And so, like, seeing her interact with her dad kind of showed that the toll it's taken on her. And, like, the toll it's taken on Fitz and Simmons is very clear. And the same with Daisy as well. Her kind of dealing with the fact that she's now a leader and, like, the pressure that she's put on herself, and she really wants to start up. They've said the Secret Warriors, so we can just say it.
Secret happening. It's happening.
They're saying it out loud.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we're not. I'm glad that they're paying it service.
Yeah, but they're not harping on it.
Yeah, because we don't need it yet.
Well, everybody that they try to recruit is still going through psychological evaluation. But like you said, to kind of get back to May and her dad, first of all, I think it was great casting. I love the actor that they got to play her dad. He was in Mulan. He's in a bunch of things. I know him from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
I know him as every Chinese restaurant host in sitcoms.
Pretty much.
Seinfeld, King of Queens.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
Which was very fitting because he is such a contrast to both her and her mom.
Yeah.
So, and I just really liked what he had to say about when she was a kid and when she was doing ice skating, about how Melinda May is or I guess Millie, which is the cutest little nickname for her.
She's like, don't call me that.
Even though she would fall down constantly, she was always very quick to get back up.
Yeah.
And I just really loved what he said. My daughter always gets back up.
What happens when we fall off the horse, my young master Bruce?
Why do we fall?
Why do we fall?
Wrong franchise.
It's great to see this other side of May's upbringing.
Yeah.
Because we met her mom, and her mom is, like, very much May Senior.
Yeah.
But this is the softer side of May that we saw a little bit last season with basically everything before Bahrain.
Yeah.
But and this is so it's polarizing. Like, she was in a combination of her mom and her dad before the cavalry incident.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, she sort of just became full on her mom. And maybe, like, psychologically, and, like, we sort of the tease at the end with, like, psychology is about your family. Mm-hmm. That's May sort of saying, like, there was safety in being like her. I need to not be like my dad anymore.
Yeah, and it's interesting how she's now going to be buddied with Hunter, because Hunter seems to also want the same thing that May. He wants to have, like, a personal life and not just be a killer, but he also is like a really well trained agent and
he
stuff like that.
super wants to kill Ward.
And he super wants to kill Ward.
They already have a lot.
He
in
also
common.
wants beers, lots of beers.
Beers,
Beers
let's
for everyone.
celebrate.
Yeah.
I feel like Hunter is going to be a good balance for May. They'll be a good pairing, I feel, because last episode we had a weird pairing with Sky. Oh my gosh, Daisy and Mac. It was a little like different from
You're
what I'm
lucky
used
we
to
don't
seeing.
have a sky jar.
Yeah.
Now we don't have a Sky jar. I totally
That would get
lose.
us into trouble.
Coulson be in trouble this week.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My name's
we have
Daisy.
we have a good pairing this week with Hunter and May.
Well,
Yeah.
and I actually really like the idea of them going on a solo mission together. Because if you guys remember when Hunter was initially introduced, they did not get along well. They, at one point she was like, "Oh, I'm going to get you back for what you did to me," and like made him paranoid for a couple episodes of when payback was inevitably going to come. So I really like the idea that, even though May can't really turn it off and really be on vacation, I really like that now she's with somebody who can who has a much more laid back and optimistic attitude about going on a mission together. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're gonna have an interesting dynamic. I think both of them are very effective at what they do, even though that they come at it from two different places. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the comedy of like the
And shenanigans ensue.
Yeah.
It's just at the bottom line of like Hunter is always talking and May is never talking. So
Kind of like her marriage.
Oh, maybe that's why Hawaii didn't work out.
I hope Hunter likes monologuing. Is all I have to say.
well, he's about to.
I think he does.
Well, and it's kind of like, to go back to her and Andrew, is that they went on vacation together and he came back without her.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's her just trying to kind of conduct mission work on her own, clandestinely, or if that's kind of more just them being together didn't work out.
Well, I think it might be that. I think it also might be Hunter kind of hits on it where I think there's at least a small percentage of her that she believes that Ward is the person that hit her dad. And I think maybe she distanced herself from him as well because she's trying to save the people that she loves. Like, her dad got hit by a car. She's out on vacation in Hawaii. Like, what a perfect time for Ward to kill him. Like, yeah.
That's true. And again, nobody knew what happened to Simmons, and they had a strong suspicion that Ward had something to do with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of reason to be going after him.
I mean, that's a super paranoia that has hit May. Like her dad getting into a car accident has made her like, okay, I'm gonna stay with you 24/7. Anybody comes near the door, I don't care if it's a mailman, they're getting a knife to the throat.
I love it. It's different. She's always been protective of her team, right? But it's different seeing her protective of her actual family and Andrew, someone that she obviously still cares about and loves.
And when you're a super spy, if you're not super paranoid, then you're super dead.
Yeah,
like,
that's very true.
That's part of the job. Is like there's nothing that it doesn't have something behind it.
Just
like,
because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get me.
Exactly.
And there's a trend in the chat roll right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, who would who would fight Ward? I'm trying to figure out it started with just Hunter versus Ward, which is what this is.
Ward versus Jack Kirby.
Ward versus Star-Lord? Oh, come on, guys. Captain Marvel would crush him.
I mean,
that's not even a contest.
Ward versus
Howard the
started
Duck.
simple with like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones,
I'm gonna
Daredevil,
go ahead and say
Iron
that
Fist. They literally went through the Netflix series,
most people with superpowers would probably crush Ward.
including Jack Kirby. Come on.
He would just draw dots.
They would rip through him like tissue paper. He has strategy and resources on his side. But like, again, if you put him up against Thor, he's gonna get the hammer, and that's not good.
I mean, the thing that I think makes Ward so dangerous is that, yes, he is very, capable in terms of his fighting ability.
Yes.
And especially with the fact that he has no supernatural things going for him.
He's just manipulative.
Yeah,
that's
but
his thing.
He's
Full-on sociopath.
insanely manipulative, and also just he knows how to pull at people's strings to build something bigger. He has a long viewpoint.
He's got vision.
Hey.
But let's talk about Ward and his role, because the entire episode we were kind of wondering what his end game is, because he looks like he's specifically targeting old Hydra, people who are rich and entitled and think that their privilege actually meant power, and he's just kind of going around and I suppose torturing them, seeing if they can at all be useful.
Until we got the Werner von Strucker
Reveal,
turnaround,
yeah.
I hated Ward's story. I was like, oh, he's making a newer, younger Hydra. I was like, the best part about Hydra is that they're old Nazis, and they're like these old Nazis doing stuff. And in my notes, I literally wrote, because when he's doing the car thing, I was like, new Hydra looks like a Gap commercial. They're all wearing like white T-shirts and fitted jeans,
and just standing with their back to the pillar as a car drives
exactly,
through.
yeah. I was like, new Hydra's just a Gap commercial.
/ a scene from Fast and Furious.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But with the Werner von Strucker, I think that's a really interesting wrinkle, and I think it's a very kind of, I think that adds a lot to what he is doing with the new version of Hydra. They got a new decal. They're very excited about it.
Much more skull-like.
It's like spray paint. They got Banksy to do it.
I was going to say, who do you think they called in to be like, hey, we're looking to rebrand our image. Would you mind coming down to our office and taking a look and telling us what we should do with where our new mission statement is going, and also we'll kill you when you're done.
Probably a really great deceased artist that they brought back to life with alien blood.
I'm really glad that they called out in this episode putting symbols of your clandestine organization, just stamping it on everything.
It's
like that
branding,
might
guys.
not be the safest.
And then in the meantime,
idea.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting rid of all their logos and
but
insignia.
Gap Hydra is like banging on trash cans.
Banging on
Look, you gotta get that logo,
You gotta get
man.
that logo
V-neck. It's all about that.
It's all about corporate synergy or something. I don't know.
Fall into the Gap Hydra.
I do
iPhone
love
cases.
iPhone cases.
I do love that Coulson did wants to have his cake and eat it too, because he just couldn't help himself with the plane. He just had to put that giant eagle in there.
What did he say? He's like, I just can't help myself with the cool.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And then without looking, he pushes on a secret door open.
His robot hand.
Yeah, I know.
I do have to say, though, kind of going off of what you said, when they killed, I guess it's Age of Ultron, when they killed Strucker, when they killed Strucker, I was so surprised because it was done off screen.
It was very shocking.
It was, Strucker's like a huge Marvel villain. Like, if you read the comic books, that's a huge Marvel villain. Like,
he's around for a long time.
He's like the major antagonist for Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Like, he is the other, those two go against each other almost every week.
Yeah.
Wait,
but we cut Megan off.
It's like their afternoon tea.
Yeah.
They do it once a week.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It's just the way they say hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they killed off Strucker, I was shocked, and I was like, it's so weird that somebody who was built up so much in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just gone and killed off screen, and then we only get like a Banksy offhanded joke about it, but then to have this character introduced, and for the entire episode we were like, what was this kid's name again?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even know. And for the longest time we think he's just this bratty, really entitled rich kid who may or may not have been tied to Hydra. And then we find out he's Strucker's son, and that this was all a part of Ward's plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought tacos.
That might have been my favorite part of this episode,
that
just
reveal.
to see that reveal and see the Strucker family still there, because he's got at least a younger brother and a younger sister as well. The Struckers are still around, so it'll be interesting to see them going forward. I feel like they've got a really good chance to make this kid super sinister.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be
I think that
a good villain.
Apparently, but this is Zach Whedon's brother-in-law.
Oh.
Really?
The guy who plays
Werner
son?
von Strucker.
Werner?
That's what I was reading.
That's too funny.
I'll forgive me. I haven't had time to like triple check that, but
we come straight in here right as soon as the episode is done.
but he
no, go ahead, finish.
He's just so pretty that like he's such like this like pretty little like rich kid.
He's got little freckles all over his face.
But that makes him more threatening
For sure.
in my mind,
Yeah.
like because he's so unassuming.
Exactly.
Well, and again, young and entitled and rich, and when you're a kid that age, who has all that money and power, you do think that the world is at your fingertips, and he actually has the resources to cause some damage.
I mean, literally, the world is at this kid's fingertips.
Yeah, it's not fair. It makes me angry.
Real quick, fun fact, I talked about this while we were watching the show. If you guys caught the name of the boat he was on, it was called Typhon 2. And according to Secret Warriors, the Typhon is the pharmaceutical company that Hydra founded to, like, place money through, but they also provided vaccinations for poor countries and all that stuff. So they were seen as a great
like
thing,
a humanitarian
a humanitarian company to the public, but
which was so
Hydra.
great, by the
Nazis.
way. I want to point out that
Nazis.
Joyce caught that long before the reveal
Which
of who
makes
this
me
kid
upset
actually
that
was.
I couldn't figure out that he may be a Strucker.
Yeah.
I mean, no one saw. Let's be
Nobody
honest,
saw
no
that
one
coming.
saw
I did
that
not
coming.
believe
That
that.
was.
I figured he had to do something with Hydra. I was like, maybe he's a Typhon heir. Obviously, he's a Typhon heir, or just has all that money anyway. But perfect sense for Ward to come after that guy, that kid.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's take a really quick break to talk to you guys about iTunes. And first of all, we also want to say, guys, we know that not everybody can comment in the American iTunes store. So we want to say thank you to the world. Everybody who tunes in, the entire internet. We want to say thank you to you guys. We have fans in Korea and Brazil and Portugal and Japan and all over the place. It blows my mind how far actually a reach our show has, and it really touches my heart to hear people go, I'm a fan of yours and I'm from Germany, and like that totally makes my day. And like I could be having a really crappy day and I'll look in the comment section of our YouTube pages and just seeing you guys and how passionate you are about the show, it really does touch my heart. So, and then for everybody who on the American side goes to iTunes, we can't thank you enough, because that's kind of where a lot of the producers and everybody looks. Our sponsors, that's where they look. They see the 5-star ratings that you guys give. They see the amount of comments that we have, which is astoundingly a ton. I can't thank you guys enough. So that if you're in America, that is a good way to show your support. If you're not, we love hearing from you guys in the YouTube comment section. I want to find a better way of like getting in touch with our international fans.
Well, you can also send an email. It helps us more when it's something public. But if you just want to like say hello, let us know.
Like
you
it's
can
like
send
info
at AfterBuzzTV.com.
So
is another way that you can reach us.
And I mean, we all participate in the conversations, like especially on like the YouTube page. We're all really active, talking with you guys. So yeah, please, if you have anything, like any theories you want to share or anything like that, please send them
or
our
if
way.
you just want to say hello.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple new iTunes comments. Some really fun ones. This one says, the only matter I do not take seriously is you, Zach Wilson, from Evan M120. Excellent show. I look forward to the show every week. Sincerely, the Mad Titan. So I'm not sure if that's a reference to something.
Wait, what is it?
The only matter I do not take seriously is you, Zach.
I don't know what that means, but they gave us 5 stars.
Did you say something about the matter, like the monolith, a while back? Like,
I don't know.
we can't take this
No
matter
one knows.
seriously.
Is it positive?
I gave you 5 stars, so I assume so.
I do. I mean, I'm not the most serious person.
We love you, Zach. And then from Jillybean729, good to be back. I'm so glad this podcast is back. It's one of my favorites to watch/listen to, and you always make me laugh. This is a long comment, but thank you guys so much. Missed the show, missed the podcast. From Rosemary42, welcome back. It's been a long summer without my AfterBuzz friends.
Thank you.
Right back at it from Rogers LAX24. It's good to be back. I really appreciate the recap show. I didn't have to go back and watch the entirety of season 2. But you guys recapped it perfectly. Aw. And then, you are the best in the universe! From a really long username. So yeah, I have no idea what to say, but crush you time zones, I want to watch live! Phil, why did you replace me? From by Phil Coulson's left hand. For most of my life, I had it pretty good, and then this is just about it's an entire thing about Phil Coulson's left hand. That's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
This person, Ernie KD, signed up for iTunes just to write this review. Love the show. I stumbled onto this YouTube in season 1. Desperate for more about AOS and haven't missed one since. A little recap, a little shipping, useful backstory stuff from relevant comments, a lot of speculation, well-noted spoilers. It maintains excitement and a lighthearted nature of the show. These kids are cute and smart. Their mama should be proud. Dang it, that title is true. That is how a true believer I am. Welcome back by Option 0.
That was a great review. Thank you.
Yeah, so glad the show is back with my favorite with my favorite non-Stephen Lemieux panel. Hey, Stephen. And then a whole big thing about how terrific we all are. Thank you guys. Jesse and Zach bring it on every Marvel TV after show with their wit and comic background. They have a great chemistry, and their fellow terrific hosts, Megan and Joyce. The crew Foss, a great recap, I think does a great job recapping each episode, highlighting plot arcs and discussing theories. They are also great on social media with interacting with fans, which is very much appreciated. Aww.
Oh,
Thank you, guys.
Nice. Yeah, guys, those reviews are amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing. What's our number count up to?
I would have to scroll all the way back
I think
up.
we're at like
I'm sorry.
425, 430, something like that. I want to get to 40 by the end of this season.
And then what?
Because
Specifically 540? That's a random
I
number.
want to beat Scandal. The only AfterBuzz show with more ratings than us is Scandal. And they have like 520 something. I can only assume that they will get more as their season progresses.
What should we offer as an incentive?
I don't know. We'll have to come back.
Season.
We'll have to come back with we'll come back with an offer next.
We'll figure something out. We have plenty of time.
We have a suggestion from Stephen Lemieux, but I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it. That's inappropriate.
All right, let's get back to
thank you guys so much. Again, cannot say thank you enough.
You.
But yeah, let's get back to the show. I do want to touch on. We had a moment between Daisy and Andrew, and we were talking about like her frustration in trying to get the Secret Warriors together because she's becoming a leader, and she's having a lot of frustration with it because they keep getting stalled, and she feels like they're just the Three Musketeers with her, Mac, and Coulson, because everybody is either out because of injuries, out on vacation, missing in action, or searching for somebody missing in action.
Yeah, she definitely, she has that moment where she's like, we've lost everyone. We need to replace people on the team. And she's really pushing for people to get on the new team. But Andrew makes a really good point where it's like, that guy can't open a door without melting it. Like, there's no way you can put him in the field. Like, he's dangerous.
Yeah, no, that's not safe. And what's the emotional state of a guy who can't open a door?
Yeah, he's going to need a lot more than 3 months evaluation from Andrew, which is going to set Daisy back even more.
We really should institute a Sky job.
Okay, let's start next week.
We'll be rich.
it'll make me way better at this.
But yeah, so she's having a lot of frustration, and I like how she tries to distance Andrew because she doesn't want to be psychoanalyzed again, even though talking it out is actually probably a good way to deal with it. And even though we didn't really focus on them that much, Lincoln is gone. Lash is still running around doing God knows what. They brought up the
Going
fact
through
that
doors.
just
Going
hanging
through
out.
walls, yeah.
And that we still know relatively nothing about the ATCU. I think that's the proper order
Yeah.
of those letters. We still don't know anything about them. And yeah, Simmons mysteriously disappeared and nobody knew what happened to her. That's a lot of stuff to deal with when you're trying to create a team.
Yeah. I like how she absent-mindedly sat on a couch while she was talking to him. That was really funny.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cute. Yeah, I liked having him back. I'm very curious what happened between him and May when she ditched him, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was something that maybe she brought on because he invited her to come back and stay, you know.
Yeah. Let's not forget that last season he totally was seeing somebody.
Yeah.
Who we never got to see. It was just some
Obviously,
mysterious
May
person
is
on the
better.
picture.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, May
Obviously.
is a 10. May is a 10. That is
yeah.
a fact. but yeah, no, and I like the idea that they're basically, this is our way of telling the audience, guys, be patient, Secret Warriors is coming.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take some time.
yeah. I mean, we knew it was going to be, as the showrunners put it, a slow burn.
Exactly.
Which is fine. I mean, it's not like they're out of stories to explore. Like, there's still a bunch to explore. Like you said, there's no Lash ATCU in this story. This felt like, if it had been a 2-hour season premiere, this felt like the second part of that 2-hour season premiere. Like, it basically closed up all of the questions we had about last season, and now, like, we're fully ready to start the new season. So I feel like a slow burn on Secret Warriors is fine. They're still moving real fast. We got Simmons back in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
On any other TV show, that would have taken an entire season at least.
We wouldn't have gotten her
Yeah.
back until the mid-season finale.
Yeah.
Just right away. I mean, we didn't get to explore wherever she had been, but I
Yeah.
can only think that, now that she's back, she'll be able to fill us in on what's going on.
exactly.
She'll only make the show go by much quicker in terms of plot and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean the danger in that as well is unless the place that she went is really influential on Earth, then it's just like the side story that we have to keep honoring that doesn't really matter to our main story.
Yeah, so it's good to
nice
have her
to
back.
have her back.
And in the same way, it's nice to have May and Hunter working together
Yeah.
because then May's just kind of off doing her own thing. And
Yeah.
that doesn't really tie into the main story either.
Yeah, can we talk about Simmons coming back? Are we at that
Yeah.
point?
Yeah,
I've been
I
waiting-
feel like we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about this crazy scene. I did want to talk about Dr. Randolph coming back because we haven't seen him since the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the main thing I want to highlight from them bringing him back in is the fact that if you're not human, it's not really good to not be a local at the moment. So he's just hanging out in jail and is totally content.
Norwegian jail.
Dialogue between all of the characters
Yeah.
in this season, it's just so snappy. Everybody has is really good at giving quips with one another.
And it's
fantastic.
not cheesy or over the top either. It's not like, okay, everyone's joking around, everyone's trying to one up the other one, but it just fits so perfectly in every situation it happens in.
It's very Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Whoever's
is.
writing, it feels like mid Buffy run Joss Whedon dialogue. Where
Yeah.
it's everything is snappy. We know all the characters. All the characters are dialed in and being written specifically for them. It's very it's serious stuff, but taken lightly by people who are professionals. It's great.
And it also shows all the characters, regardless if they have beef or not, they all understand each other. They all know where each other is coming from, at least as far as I'm concerned so far. But,
Yeah.
there's still that banter to sort of keep them at bay.
And just from a pacing standpoint, it's a really good way to just kind of move the plot
Yeah.
along as quickly as possible. Speaking of which, let's go to that scene.
Heck yeah.
Because we finally see what everybody who's been working on S.H.I.E.L.D. has been talking about in terms of this being a really big episode, especially when it comes to effects, because we have Daisy using her powers to liquefy the monolith with sonic vibrations in
Yeah.
the world's biggest subwoofer.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you notice how Mac dropped his voice like 8 octaves as he said, yeah?
Oh yeah.
But so, although this is a terrible plan because it physically hurts her to be around the monolith when it's in that liquefied state.
Yeah.
It causes her to bleed from the nose, and I don't know, if it had kept going, it might have caused her brain to explode. We don't know.
It seemed really painful.
true.
And their plan is a pretty good plan. They're going to drop a probe in. They're going to take a picture of wherever it leads. It could lead into the middle of space. It could lead into the middle of space. It could lead to a place that has no oxygen. It could lead into the heart of a volcano. They don't know where this thing leads to, so they're gonna just like drop a little probe in there, take a picture, bring it back out, close the
do
portal.
the safe thing.
In and out, in and
do
out.
the safe thing.
Bing, bing, bang, boom. We're done. We're gonna take a picture. We'll see what's going on.
And then Fitz.
And then the least scientific move ever.
Not like with a mask on or like, I've gotta save my girl.
I mean, it could have been completely devoid of oxygen for all he knew. He lucked out.
I mean, he basically said, either she's alive and I'm saving her, or I'm gonna
dead.
die.
Yeah.
There is no two ways.
and the last thing he says is, keep it open for as long as you can. And it's like, do you have any idea what this is doing to Daisy?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he did attach a carabiner onto his belt loop and a wire, so he wasn't without a lifeline.
He was kind of prepared.
I legitimately thought, as like he's like grasping at her, that like he was gonna get like pulled back
Me
through.
too.
Yeah, as did I.
Um,
Or they were gonna close it, and then it was gonna be the adventures of Fitz and
man.
Simmons on an alien world.
I had
Yeah.
2 questions during that
Yeah.
scene. One, can Daisy just not wear gauntlets anymore? Like, can she handle it? I mean, that was pretty intense.
I think the gauntlets help.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're required, but yeah, I think right now it's more about like amplifying her power.
It's a fair question though. They haven't really established what she needs the gauntlet. Like she wore them in the pilot, and they looked so bad.
looked awesome.
I
They looked
think
really cool.
part of it is like a help to help her control, because she first is firing away from the monolith and is like, sorry guys, still fine tuning.
Yeah. This just seemed like an amount of power that she had never exerted before. And I guess she wasn't prepared to do that, and she wasn't wearing the gauntlets. That makes sense.
Well, and the thing is actually, again, the thing she's firing at is actually physically causing her pain
Exactly.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
And second thought, when they were trying to hold down that pole, Bobby and
Mac.
Mac, where the heck was Randolph?
Yeah,
when he's super
strong
strong
guy.
as
Guardian holding it down for them.
Although this is a guy who's terrified of portals, so he's like, if that snaps and they get sucked in there,
I'm gonna
not
stand
doing
in
it.
this corner where the amp is.
Also, he seemed pretty shocked for an Asgardian. He seemed pretty shocked at seeing an Inhuman.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and even he's like, I haven't even heard the word
In a
Inhuman
long
in
time,
many,
yeah.
many
Just
years.
that alone, the implications of that are huge.
Yeah.
That he like knows of the Inhumans, because like the only parts that we only society that we've seen is Afterlife, which is kept very, very secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this implies that Asgardians may know the word Inhuman. It may be something he heard on Earth.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I mean, we had the whole episode where Lady Sif came down, and so she's, Asgardians are aware of the Inhumans. I don't think they're as aware about the Inhuman population, that it's as large as it is, because the second she found out that at the time Skye was Inhuman, I'm qualifying that.
Yeah.
At the time Skye was Inhuman, she wanted to take her back to Asgard.
Yeah.
She wanted to detain her. So I think it's one of those things where they're aware that they exist, but they're not aware of how large it is in the human population.
Yeah.
I feel like as a member of the intergalactic community, you have heard of the Kree secret weapon, that the Kree have been working on these super soldiers, and that they have been using, their biotechnology to create these soldiers that could, do fantastic things. And so it's probably like a rumor that's around there, like, oh yeah, I hear that the Kree did this, but to actually see one or hear that they exist it's like hearing that like the Nazis had werewolves, like, and then like it being an actual thing.
Or, that they existed at one point in time but were long thought extinct.
Yeah.
Well, interesting question from the chat roll. Tickled Tea Lady wants to know, do you think Dr. Randolph will report to Asgard about Inhumans being back on Earth?
I don't think so. I don't think he's in contact with Asgard.
Yeah.
I think he wants to avoid
he's
contact.
He's trying to
content.
stay
back
away
in
from
so
Asgard.
long.
Yeah.
He's content on Earth. He does.
Yeah.
Again, they made a point. He doesn't want to go in near any.
Well, maybe
cosmic
now
portals.
he does.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? It's been so long since season 1. Wasn't he a fugitive of some sort?
I
Yeah,
believe
he
so,
was.
yeah.
I'm
That's
not
the whole.
sure.
That's why he's afraid of the portals. And they
Yeah, he doesn't
reestablished
wanna
that
go
here
back.
that like if he goes through a portal, he'll wind up. He believes like just getting back to Asgard, and that's not where he wants to be
No.
at all.
It was a
Heimdall
crazy
can see him.
rager. I made a mess of the place. I can't show my
fair.
face for another millennia or so.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Heimdall can't see.
Norwegian
Doesn't-
prison specifically. That makes
Doesn't
sense.
know who he is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, but if he goes through a portal,
That would be
or-
funny if
or-
Heimdall's just like, I don't know why you think you can hide. I mean, you're there.
We just don't care,
Yeah.
Randall.
You're not as important as
That
you
party
think you
was
are.
years ago. No one cares anymore. Everyone got drunk. It's no big deal. But to get back to Simmons and Fitz, this
Oh,
entire
man.
scene, edge of our seats, it was just phenomenal. And the reveal of the monolith exploding and then there in the rubble, that was very, very well done and very suspenseful. I had to give kudos to them. It was
And
fantastic.
just like him holding her as they like kind of fade to black, like it was a really well done scene, and like it felt like a really good emotional closing of that tension. Like it was
Yeah.
what
I
we
agree.
what we needed for
I'm
it.
very satisfied with the way everything panned out
Yeah.
for them.
I wasn't sure as it was unfolding. I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel when this finishes, like with Fitz and Simmons. But I like what we're getting in the hot and like in the back at the base where she like puts her head on Fitz's lap for comfort, but she wakes up like with like some
shiv.
stream,
Yeah.
with a shiv.
Yeah, she's
just
crafted
like
a shiv.
But she's ready. That means that there was something attacking her.
I can't
yeah.
wait to find out what
Yeah.
what she went through that whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get a flashback episode, or
I
are we
feel
just
like
going to
she's-
hear the story?
I feel like we're going to hear the story.
I think it'll take some time though. I feel like she's gonna go through a period where she doesn't, where she might want to block it out, or maybe tell a few people.
We had one comment, and I'm not sure, but they said that Elizabeth, in an interview, said that Simmons has PTSD from this experience. I don't know where in the chat that was. I apologize. But if that's true, then that's something that's going to have to be dealt with for the rest of the season.
So she's basically in a similar position Fitz was in last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So now it's her
and it's
turn
gonna need
to
healing.
and she's gonna need the healing, and he's gonna be there for her the whole time.
It's very much a reverse.
I would love
Yeah.
to see just an entire episode dedicated to her time on
yeah.
that. Like,
Oh,
just
yeah,
one,
no, shut
one
up and take my money.
flashback episode of just like seeing what she was doing there.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably don't have the budget for that. So
No.
I mean, you never know. That could be a big like mid-season finale type
It'd be
deal.
nice.
might.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm
Depending
I'm all
on what
for
it is.
Well, guys, it was fantastic talking. Do we have time to talk about a little bit of news and gossip? Because
Yes.
there
do
was
it.
a little bit of news and gossip. So, for those of you paying attention to the larger MCU, we have some news about the upcoming Black Panther movie. There's a lot of chat going on today about Joe Robert Cole being approached to write the script. So that's
It's just a rumor.
yeah,
It's not even
nothing's
confirmed.
official yet. It's just kind of something that everybody's kind of keeping on the radar, which is interesting because they nailed down the writers for Captain Marvel like months ago.
Yeah.
So it's weird that like we're only just kind of now getting the ball rolling with Black
Well,
Panther.
they've had trouble with directors on that one. I have a whole spiel about I'm actually on Marvel's side and Kevin Feige's side on this, but the dynamic of Marvel movies and Marvel TV shows is wildly different from traditional filmmaking, and that's why they've had trouble with directors. It's not the same, and people have different expectations.
Yeah.
But we got the other, like, more directly related to this.
Go ahead.
News. Damage Control is a
so
new
cool.
show being developed by Marvel. I'd heard rumors for a little while now. I've got sources, you guys. That Marvel was very high on comedy and trying to do some comedy. And so they finally found this, I guess, as their option. It's interesting because it feels so close to DC's Powerless, which is like an insurance company.
Yeah.
And Damage
Which-
Control is the story of the crews that clean up after superheroes.
Construction crews, yeah.
I want to say that we were throwing out a lot of pitch ideas in previous episodes of this podcast. I don't know. I think we deserve a credit somewhere.
I think so.
Disney, you've got so much money. Just give us
Just
a
give us a
little
little bit. It's no big deal. Do we have any other news and gossip?
I think that's it
That's,
for now.
that's the main
Yeah,
stuff.
that's it.
Let's go ahead and move into predictions.
All right.
And now, your AfterBuzz
We are running late as usual.
TV.
Yeah, I totally needed elsewhere.
All right, so looks like next week's episode is about hunting poor Lincoln. I feel really bad for this guy. He's been through a lot. He found out he was in a cult. Wow, that light show really
Epilepsy.
lasted longer than I was expecting it to. But it seems like it's a race from the ATCU and S.H.I.E.L.D. to try to apprehend him. And it looks like it doesn't go so well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're gonna see a big evolution from like what the ATCU is. I promised a report because basically I have two predictions that like are completely opposite each other. But like what the ACTU, I still think that's like a cover that this is gonna evolve into something else. Well, there's the one thing that it becomes more just part of the Superhuman Registration Act.
Yeah.
And that's just like there was an organization, the C.
There was just
Either way.
Yeah.
There was an organization.
Either way,
The initiative.
Yeah, the initiative. But we also were thinking sword as someone to deal with the outer threat, and it because Constance Zimmer's character, they're clearly masking her real name.
Yeah.
Everyone's thought Abigail Brand.
Yeah.
I looked into, as far as I could, the rights, because that's a character who was introduced in X-Men.
And she's also a mutant.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
But because it's not central to her character,
Yeah.
I've found some lists on sites like Cinema Blend had a big list of like these are the characters that Fox has the rights to,
Yeah.
and she is not included in those.
That's good.
So it may be a thing where if Fox wanted to use Abigail Brand, they would be able to, but they do not have exclusive rights to that character.
All right.
Okay.
That's good.
They won't be able to use whatever mutant storyline she comes from. But
so no relationship with Beast.
yeah, she's not going to be
no-
hooking
But
up with
they
no
could
buddy
make
cop
her.
story
They
with
could make her
Magneto.
an Inhuman.
Yeah.
Like, how interesting would that be if
that might be
leader...
risky for them, just in terms of like what rights do you have. But
Yeah.
just the basic character of the woman in charge of SWORD, this organization that is in charge of alien threats, that could be what they do with this character.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Constance Zimmer is strong enough that
She could be Abigail Brand.
She could carry into Captain Marvel if they
For
wanted her
sure,
to.
yeah.
No, and I'd love that. I love her.
I think she's
Joyce?
great.
Any thoughts, Joyce?
Well, I remember last week I was saying that Ward is going to attempt to kill Andrew, and now we're introduced to Werner being introduced to Andrew, which is probably Ward's next move, most likely.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to switch it to an attempt to kill him, because I feel like A, May's on Super Watch, and B, I don't think her character should be like
That's not
under
something
for
her-
too long.
Yeah.
She's already sort of retracted, and she's already sort of held herself back. I don't think it's going to happen a second time if Andrew gets killed. Do you
It
know what I
could
mean?
be that's kind of like her trying to save him is the thing that kind of kicks
Yeah.
her
The inciting
back into
incident,
gear.
yeah.
And you guys were right, because I thought maybe Andrew would be killed off. Like, yeah, he is a psychiatrist, but maybe he didn't have too much of a purpose this season. That would be my fear. But you guys were right. Like, he's obviously still
He's
Yeah.
still
working
important.
on
and they
all
need
the
him.
for all the secret wars that are maybe about to come in. So
Yeah, to
Yeah.
Very cool.
prevent
So
humans
an
from becoming
attempt-
monsters.
An attempt on Andrew's life.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very cool.
I like that much better than just Andrew dying.
Yeah,
I don't want
that's
him
better.
to die.
Jesse, any other thoughts?
I mean, I've got my pie in the sky predictions. I think Werner's going to kill Ward and take over Hydra. And I think someone from across the portal will come back for Simmons.
I like that.
I like that. That's
I
good.
like the idea that the monolith, even though it was kind of exploded, that doesn't mean that the portal is shut for good. I like
sure,
that.
yeah.
Well, guys, any other thoughts on tonight's episode?
It was just good, emotionally, really good closing.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. Well, we want to say thank you to all you guys who are in the hashtag. You guys were fantastic. Everybody who participated in the live chat, you guys are fantastic. And I love the different ward combination fights.
They had you, Megan. They had you and me going up against Ward.
Oh, we
at
would
some
get
point.
so killed. We would get
I
so
believe the
worn out.
quote was, "We would kill him with our adorableness."
Nice.
Oh, our little cheeks.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys. I'm pretty sure we would not win that fight. Joyce,
No,
where
he'll
can
kill
the
us.
people find you?
Have faith in yourself, guys. You guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at JAJOURI. That's Joyce Ajouri.
Zach.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson, ThatZachWilson. Whole bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, including Doctor Who and The Muppets, and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. I'll be doing AKA with Zach, and you can see me doing live comedy all around Los Angeles.
And I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter at the Menguin. That's TheMenguan. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and be sure to watch the Movie Chick News Show every Tuesday. So be sure to catch that. Folks, thank you guys so much again for tuning in. We will see you all next week.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.